Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ask Rob and Rob. Feeling up for this one. Hopefully you are too. We've got some great questions coming up on the show. But before we get into it, let's give you a quick reminder of how you can get involved on the show.
Yeah, you should know this by now. All you've got to do is call 013 808 00035, 013 808 00035, or you can go to propertyhub.net/ask. We don't like to put barriers in your way. We like to make it really simple to get those questions in. And luckily, plenty of people do, including Tyrone. So let's listen to his question right now.
Hi, Rob and Rob. It's Tyrone here. Thanks for a great podcast and excellent content. My question is around leverage. What is the right amount of leverage? I have a property, I'm looking at remortgaging, but I don't know at what level I should go. What's the way to calculate it? How can I balance my risk? Any assistance or suggestions or thoughts would be wonderful. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Great question. There's two layers to this. Let's start with the basics. First of all, it's what you're comfortable with. So the norm in the buy-to-let world right now is around about 75% loan to value. So that's you get a mortgage for 75% of the property value and you put a deposit down with the remaining 25%. Now, in past market cycles, the norm got to 85% and everybody just did 85% loan to value. We're not there at the moment, but the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised to see 80% the new norm at some point in the future. But right now, it's 75%. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can drop it down. You know, if you want to go to 50%, then there's absolutely nothing stopping you. In fact, the rates at, say, 60% are quite generous, and it might be worth considering that if you have a larger deposit and if you're cautious. There are also products if you want to go the other way. So while the norm is 75%, there are still products out there that allow you to purchase at 80 or even 85% loan to value. But the interest rate on those products is a little bit more. So you have to take that into account. Now, that is all you and your personal decision. What is not your decision is the stress tests that come along with this. Now, what are stress tests? I'll tell you. Stress tests are done by the lender, and they want to see that your rental amount is going to be more than enough to pay the mortgage. But a lot of lenders tend to operate on this calculation. Your rent needs to be at least 125% of your mortgage amount, the payments, and that's often calculated at 5.5%. Even though you're going to pay a lot less than that, your product won't be that high. What they're doing is they're stress testing it. So they're making sure that even if the rates went higher, you'd still be able to comfortably pay off your mortgage payments. And, you know, there's a lot to be said for the banks acting like that and being responsible. Now, my prediction is, and I don't think this is a wild one, that as the market gets stronger, they'll loosen the criteria, work around it, and you won't have to adhere to those rules. But right now you do. There are ways to not get around it, but maximise the situation, I should probably say, by taking into other properties into account and the leverage that you have against them. And we can get into a lot of detail here. But my suggestion is that if you're not working with a mortgage broker already, that you do so. And a mortgage broker that understands buy-to-let, that is key. Not all mortgage brokers are created equal when it comes to buy-to-let. So do make sure that you engage with a mortgage broker that understands the buy-to-let market really well. So you may find that you get a property that you really like, but the rents don't stack up for you to be able to get a mortgage at 75%. So it may mean that you need to get a mortgage at 70% or 65% for it to pass the stress tests. But a mortgage broker can take you through this step by step to help you understand what's possible in the area that you're targeting. So your next step is speak to a broker, but at least you've got some good base knowledge to work with.
Okay, let's move on to our second question now. This one comes in from James.
Hello, Rob and Rob. My name's James. Hope you're doing well. I've got a question about residential mortgage. So I've got a 3-bedroom property on which I've got a residential mortgage that's running out shortly. Now, I want to convert my 3-bedroom property to a 4-bedroom house and then rent each room out individually. The plan is to move out and rent separately with my partner. Would you recommend, or do I have to get a buy-to-let mortgage? So do I need to convert my residential mortgage into a buy-to-let mortgage? If there's any additional advice you can give, I'll really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, James. Sounds like there's a bit of work for you to do there with that project, but the good news is that the mortgage aspect of it is very straightforward, or the answer is very straightforward at least. The answer is yes, you do need a buy-to-let mortgage, and in fact you need a specific type of buy-to-let mortgage. So if you are renting out a property and you're not going to be living there, so it's not a lodger type situation, you're renting it out, you must have a buy-to-let mortgage. Or if you've previously been living there and you've got a residential, you might be able to get consent to let from your current lender. But in general, you need a buy-to-let mortgage. But not all buy-to-let mortgages are the same. As standard, they will generally allow you to rent a property out on one single contract to cover everyone who's living there. So a single family home, basically. If you want to rent out a property room by room, you need a specific type of mortgage to cover that situation. And even within that, there are some different options. So some lenders are happy with you having individual contracts per room. Others are fine with you renting the property out by the room, but only if everybody is on the same contract, even though they're not related. So that might be a student let, for example, where you've got multiple unrelated students living there, but they're all collectively responsible for the rent. So there's a lot to get right in there. And as often when we're talking about mortgages, I'll repeat the same advice, which is speak to a mortgage broker. Even if you're dealing with a simple situation, the chances of you finding the best product for your situation, for what you want to do with a project and get the best rate, is close to none because the market is so complicated. You're dealing with a bit more of a niche area of the market. Therefore, it's even more important to take advice. And my recommendation is to do that first before you start on anything else, because chances are it'll all be okay, but you might find out that your mortgage options are more restricted or less appealing than you thought, and that might have a bearing on what you do with the project as a whole. So, hope that helps. Go do that, James. Hopefully that will give you the clarity you need. So 2 more questions, 2 more answers, another episode of Ask Rob and Rob done. Do keep your question coming in because we love to receive them, and we're going to be back to do it all again next Tuesday. But before then, we'll see you on Thursday for the Property Podcast. Until then, enjoy your week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.